Hey guys, it's time for episode number 241 with my friend, the retail professor, Sara Burks. Let's talk about your business, strategy, and the juicy details of what actually works, from mainstream fashion to fashion on Main Street and the entire ecosystem behind it. How do we scale your company and do it with the balance and the happiness that we all seek? Let's hear from those insiders, experts, and strategists that actually make it happen. I'm your host, Ashley Alderson from the Boutique Hub, and I can't wait to chat. All right, guys, you are in for a treat today because we're going completely behind the scenes today in the Hub. And it's with one of my favorite people, Miss Sara Burks. Hello, Sara.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
So if you guys could ever be a mouse in the corner or a fly on the wall, Sara and I get to travel quite a bit. And when we do, we're always talking business, like our brains function the same way. So today we thought it would be fun on the episode to just go behind the scenes in a conversation that you and I have undoubtedly had a million times in our hotel room or at a hotel bar or you name it. But we are always talking about the questions we get asked from retailers of all sizes, of all shapes, of all backgrounds, and some of the most common stumbling blocks that we see retailers come across. And there's 12 main areas. And really, these are the areas that we kind of thought in detail about step by step, put them in a process, and ended up building Retail Bootcamp off of these 12 key areas, kind of in a progression. Would you say, Sara, they all have to kind of go in order to make sense?
Absolutely. I think anything that a person decides they want to do, they have got to start at the beginning and build that solid foundation or they won't succeed. And that's the same thing with retail. And that's where Retail Bootcamp came from.
Yeah, I used to get the question, and I know you would get these questions too. I'd always hear, help me with Facebook ads, or my Facebook ads aren't working. And I would go in to do that, but then I would find out, well, you really don't know your ideal customer and your branding needs help, or your website really isn't working. And so we always ended up having to unpack things and work backwards. And so when you and I kind of sat down to build all this, we're like, hey, we have to start at the very, very basics, which for some people, you're going to feel like, really? We have to talk about that. But don't you think in business, so many times we are building the plane as we fly it and we just kind of figure out what's next and we run with it. And sometimes we leave a lot of loose ends that just have to be tied up in order to hit the next level.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I get asked those kind of things all the time too. And I was just asked earlier today, when do I know it's time for me to go to market? And so, I said, well, where are you at in your business? And she said, well, I haven't really started yet. And I said, oh, well, then let's not go to market until we know exactly what we're going to market for. Who are we buying for? What is that? Who's that customer we're actually serving? Well, sometimes that's not the fun stuff. Sometimes, we get a lot of first-time boutique owners or newbie boutique owners that just want to dive into the super fun stuff. And they realize once they do that, then they not really sure where their cash is. They're not really sure who their customer is. They have all these, oh my gosh, what now type realities. And then they think, oh, shoot, yeah, I totally put the cart before the horse, a year ago or 6 months ago, and now I'm in trouble. And that's, we built Retail Bootcamp for that, to be able to build that super solid foundation, which is just rock solid. So now we can get big. And we can do it and scale it and manage it and be proud of it and pay ourselves and do all these fun things. And without there's going to be burnout. There's going to be stress. This is retail. That is 100% what retail, it just happens. But absolutely those foundation pieces and these 12 like pain points, I guess, that we've broken this down into helps tackle the whole big picture and make it manageable. So that's what I love about Retail Bootcamp. And the testimonies that we've received from people, they prove that. And we love it. Absolutely love it.
You bring up a really good point. You said a lot of times, you kind of focused on newbie boutique owners. They see, gosh, it must be easy to own a boutique. I see these people killing it on social media. And there's kind of like that, I would say they're into like the pretty part of the business, but you and I both know that there has to be, I don't want to say a pretty and ugly part of the business. That's not the analogy I was going for, but there's a right and a left brain for sure side of the business. And even bigger boutique owners that we've worked with, multi-million-dollar boutique owners that get lost in the trap of comparison on social media And we're always looking at, oh, these other boutique owners, they're going to market again, or they're going to LA again, or they're doing these things with influencers, or they're opening multiple locations. They must be killing it.
Yep.
So I have to open multiple locations too. And that trap of comparison is just crippling. And if I've heard one common theme so far this year from our community, it's been that it's time to scale back and understand what is actually working for me, and facing that harsh reality that it's not always the pretty things that people do on social media that really should be my focus, but it's the unpretty things. The times when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm going over reports and numbers that make my head spin, and I really am analyzing where are my margins and what's my GMROI, like how do I know what vendors are actually turning in my store and where I should be really placing my orders, right? Wouldn't you say those are the areas of focus that we don't want to focus on because it doesn't look great on social media? It's not the FOMO part of the business, but it's the most important part of the
Oh
business.
man, 100%. And I'm a sports buff, and I talk a lot about sports. And when I'm listening to what you're saying, it resonates with me because yes, it's not just the newbie boutiques, it's the boutiques that have been in business for 10, 15, 30 years, right? And retail changes every day. The strategies that need to succeed today are different than they were 5 years ago. And that's where these existing boutiques are finding that need for that continued education also, because things are so, they're turning quickly. Trends are turning. Yes, we know that happens, but so is marketing and strategy. And a lot of these tools that are here today that make this almost an easy button for boutique owners, they weren't there 5 years ago. And that's what those are,
Mm-hmm.
we partner with so many experts in the field to bring those strategies and those services to you through Retail Bootcamp, that it's a win. And, we really pride ourselves in making sure we're going out and we're finding the in the know, the must, be in the moment things that can help you scale your business today and sets you apart from everybody else, and just gives you that leg up to be able to succeed. Because if you do stick in the same rut that you were trying to run your business in say 5 years ago, you're really going to get past, and you're going to get past quickly, because the people that are truly in the know and that have the time to do the shopping around are your customers. And we're noticing that there's so much being thrown at them that if you're not where they live, and if you're not speaking to them in the language that they speak today, you're going to get passed up. And that language is different than it was 5 years ago. And so, yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
newbie boutiques, it's existing boutiques, but oh man, you're right. When it's changed, it changes, and it changes fast. And we really want to make sure we're bringing that new vital information to help everybody win and succeed. And yeah, it's fun. But I would say one other thing on that, on the sports analogy is, we see guys on, we see the big NBA players, we see college athletes, and we see them succeeding, and we see them getting interviewed, and we see them, maybe on a t-shirt or all that kind of stuff. And that's awesome. And we like, oh man, all these little kids, I want to be that guy, or I want to be that girl, whatever it is. But what we don't see is those 5 a.m. morning practices. We don't see the injuries. We don't see the setbacks. We don't see them getting, beat down and trying their hardest to survive in this very competitive world of sports. We don't see that. We look and we choose to focus on the tennis shoes that they're producing, or the t-shirts, or the commercials, or whatever it is, or the sports, the going to an award show with the really beautiful woman on their arm. That's what we look at. But the truth is, there's all this stuff behind the scenes. And that's the same way it is in business. And I feel like social media can give such, we all know that there's a lot of catfish out there that are saying they're this, but they're, that truly are something else. So we talk a lot about that in Retail Bootcamp, of know who you are, know what lane you're in, know who you're serving, focus in on that,
Mm-hmm.
and do those hard things to be able to reward yourself for the successes later on.
Oh, you're so spot on. Spot on. And if I could add one thing to what you're saying, it's we see these people that we think again are killing it, like you're saying, these athletes and everything else, and we think, hey, what's the easy button? What's the one thing? What's their one secret, right? Tell me more in depth. Go in depth. There's got to be more. There's got to be more. And the truth is, sometimes the answers of how to get from point A to point B and where you're going in business, it's not a secret. It's the really, really basic things that you already know that seem like they're no brainers, but you just
Mhm.
have to do them and do them better. but it has to fit where you are at in your business today. Like the secret for one boutique is not going to be the same secret as what might grow your boutique. So just taking in training, whether again it's bootcamp or any training online or any blog post online or any speaker you listen to, listen for the one nugget that's going to make sense for you and your business. That's all you need is one nugget to take action on and to do the hard thing, like you said, Sarah. That's the thing that's going to grow your business versus just trying to have that instant gratification that our society is so used to and finding the quote unquote secret from some other business.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's where these 12 modules really came from, going back and deep diving into those, 12 categories or 12 positions within a business and making sure there's tools for individual boutiques to succeed in those places, because a lot of times that's where there's big cracks in the foundation, and that's where there's a loophole or where bad decisions are made. And a bad decision today might seem okay, but you really see the ramifications from it 5 months from now. And then that just, a crack in the foundation, it starts out small, it grows, or a leak in the bucket, it might start as a very small little trickle of water coming out of there. Next thing you know, it's completely fallen apart. And we see that happen with boutique owners all the time. And when they don't have a good balance, they don't have a good system, they don't have the tools in place, they don't have a community of support around them, all these kind of things. And it's a bad deal. And that's why, we're here to help that, and we're here to reduce that. And so far with the people that have went through Retail Bootcamp, we've seen a ton of success stories, and I'm very happy about that. I love listening to people talk about winning within their business, and financially is great, but personally is even better. And, for women to be able to have that business that they walk home in at night and they're with their family and they have a success story to tell, and the kids see them being successful, and they're making a difference in their community, and they're making a difference in the lives of the people around them. It's awesome. I absolutely love it.
So let's start with pain point number one and area of focus number one, because we're going to give you guys, whether you're in bootcamp or not, we're wanting you to walk away with tips and some nuggets and some strategy today. So focus number one is going back to just what you said, Sarah. Sarah, is that your name now?
Well,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Look, we're not even at a hotel bar. I have not had wine, and your name is now Sarah. Module number one is about business building and going back to the basics. Set me up, Sarah. Talk about, one pain point that we see with boutique owners being the foundations of their business and just not having a great mission, vision, or idea of who they are and who they're serving and then where they're going.
Well, I think one thing that we really cover here in module one is that whole naming of your store, naming of your business. There's a lot of different things here, but building on a solid foundation and making sure you've got all your I's dotted and your T's crossed. And a lot of it is legal, right? A lot of it is the contractual part of your business and that legal entity of your business. Even the name and how that name has got to grow with you, and it's got to set you apart, and it's got to work online as well as it does in print. It's got to be able to be branded, but it's also got to be yours. And what I find a lot of times, and you and I've had numerous conversations about this, a business jumps in, names their business something, only to find out later, after they've had the sign made, the business cards named, all this kind of stuff, that they can't actually get the website because it's already somebody else has the domain, or it's trademarked for something else, or they're getting sued now because they're trying to build a business off of their name, which is actually somebody else's. So we go through an awful lot of that in module one. And oh my gosh, there's nothing more heartbreaking than seeing a person just invest so much money and time into building something only to be found later that they can't. They've got to start back over.
Yeah, we've had that. Even established businesses that have been around for a while have come through that module and said, oh my gosh, I was so new when I started my boutique, and I just kind of threw all this stuff together. The legal paperwork, the insurance, the contracts, there was no trademarking, right?
Yep.
There was no mission, no vision. And as you start to scale and build a team and really start to, reach a wider audience, those things become so vital. So we've seen a lot of people come back and consider rebranding, or even just having more, I would say, dynamic and deeper conversations with their customers about really who they are and what they need and why they're shopping with them in the first place.
Yep.
Like those foundations really do set the rest of your business tone. And it's important that everyone come back and revisit them at least annually.
Yeah. And this goes for brands as well as boutiques, right? Because that whole
Yes.
trademark thing is huge. And you might come up with a product and you might get it out on market on the market, and you just kind of put the cart before the horse, so to speak, and it takes off like absolute wildfire. If you have no
Hmm.
protection behind that, or you have no protection behind your name, there's nothing holding somebody else back there that's leaking in in the weeds to go in and capitalize on that and then trademark it as their own. So there's so many things that boutique owners, brands, everybody, we really need to be thinking about and being mindful about it to deal
Hmm.
with some of these really hard things, the strategic things, the things that are going to set us up for, 5 months, 5 years, 15 years down the road, that are going to protect us. And we talk an awful lot about that in module 1.
Yep. All right. Area of focus number 2 in module number 2 is about retail mindset and productivity and really becoming the CEO of your business. And I'll start here and I want you to jump in with me, but I talk productivity and mindset are really probably two of my favorite topics to cover because I know what an impact it's had in my life. And I've seen firsthand how many busy, overwhelmed, stressed out, overworked families are stressed out boutique owners that come through, whether it's been retail boot camp or boutique boot camp or one-on-one coaching. Like we've seen some horror stories, right, Sarah?
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I think nailing this part of the business is, to me, this is one of the most important that we work on a daily basis, because no matter how much money you've made, it doesn't matter if you aren't happy at the end of the day, and if you aren't in a good mental state and you don't have a great family supporting you. So there's a lot of deep dive that happens here.
Oh, for sure. And we've seen a lot of horror stories here. And what is it you're doing, and why are you doing it, and who are you doing it for? All these kind of things. Again, jumping in and putting the cart before the horse can kind of skip over some of these things, and all of a sudden it's at a sacrifice for something else. Your success is
Hmm.
putting somebody else second. And a real good reality check of what a boutique business looks like. What are the time commitments, and where's that time going to come from, and how do you wrap your head around
Hmm.
that? So important in module 2. And you do some really cool activities in module 2 and some challenges here to get them to really dive in and take a almost an inner assessment of themselves and their time, and acknowledge where are their shortfalls, where are their strengths, where is their time best spent in this business to be the most productive
Hmm.
human, I would just say, right? The most productive person, not just business owner.
Yeah. I was just talking to a boutique owner yesterday, and she's a multi-million dollar boutique. And she's like, she was considering coming into boot camp. And she's like, I would love to do it, but I don't have time. Boot camp looks like it's a big commitment. I feel like I don't have time. I've got a lot on my plate. I only have a couple of employees. I know I could have more, but I feel like I'm kind of a control freak. And as I was thinking about her, I was like, oh my gosh, like module 2 is 100% what you need. And I think that's the hardest part of being an entrepreneur. And I know you can relate, Sarah, is we feel like we have to be the control freak of the business, and no one can do things as good as we can do them. So in turn, we hold on to all this baggage and stress, and we try to do it all ourselves, but we cannot scale a business unless we step into being a true CEO. And this is where I know you talk a lot in this module about, what does it mean to be a CEO?
Yeah.
What does it mean to do the one thing on your plate that day that is going to get you the 20% of your list is going to get you 80% of your results, right? The CEO isn't going to be out shipping orders. Yes,
Oh,
they can. And yes, it would be great for morale once in a while, but that's not where their time is best spent. So, what does it actually look like to be productive so you can scale a business, right? Because Tim Cook isn't building chips that go into your phone. He's got better things to do. So, how do you do that into your business?
amen. Amen. We preach on that a lot. And I think, you can find this is not just retail boot camp stuff, but the strategies that you're learning here, or I shouldn't say not just retail boot camp stuff, the stuff just for your boutique. It's life skills, right? And
Yeah.
you don't want to just go through life spinning your wheels and, kind of just 50% doing 1,000 things and never really getting anything done. And we find that
Mm-hmm.
happening, and we find the burnout, and then we find the people that like are those bottlenecks that are hindering the productivity and the advancement. And yeah, I think module 2 really, I've seen a lot of awesome testimonials about module 2 and how it has really changed, like I said, their personal life as well as their business life. and how the inner two can be married together and be healthy. I think that is the one thing I see a lot of people talk about this year is being more healthy. And that's not just physically fit, as emotionally and mentally fit as well. And how that
Mhm.
builds everybody up. And if everybody's healthy, my gosh, the amount of success that you can really have. If you look at the human body and you've got an illness or cancer or something, that just drags everything else down. And so when you can really up that game, that mindset and the productivity, and know that when you lay your head on the pillow at night, like you got some stuff done. And tomorrow I've got a
Mhm.
plan, and I have my time blocked, and I know what my goal is, and I know what I have the right players here that's helping me. Man, come Tuesday, you're going to feel like you've got so much done, whereas before it might be
Mhm.
Saturday by the end of the week and people are like, what did I even do this week? I don't even know. And one week passes and another week passes, and next thing you know, a whole year has passed, and it's all a big blur. And you don't really have a lot to say that you've accomplished. So, yeah, retail mindset productivity. Oh my gosh, module 2, huge. And that's why it comes number 2 in retail boot camp, because you cannot go forward and focus on some of these other things unless you've got that down.
Absolutely. I encourage you guys wherever you're at in your business and whether you've done retail bootcamp in the past or this is not for you, I just encourage you wherever you are to be a lifelong learner and to time block at least an hour of your week every week to some sort of continuing education. Like just make sure it's a priority that you are constantly filling your cup so that you can continue to fill others and to fill your business. That's if there's any takeaway, please take that away and block that into your schedule each and every week in 2020.
Yep.
Module number 3, Sarah, this is where you go deep. And I would say module 3 and 4 are where people's eyes start to get really big and go, oh crap, I have a lot to work on. So module 3 is the first talk about money. And we purposely named this module Money Matters. If you skip this module, you'll flunk.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, it's so funny because I see, and I can relate here because right, I've been in retail since the early '90s, and there was a point in time in my retail walk that I'd print out a report, I'd scroll all the way down, and be like, "Awesome, that number is a positive number, perfect." Close that report, move on. And then there's other times I'd look at that report, I'm like, "Eeks, that's not a very large number, or actually that's a negative number. Huh, okay, I'll look at that again next week. Maybe it'll change." That's like the kiss of death. I mean, right? I paused there because I'm like, "Oh my god, I actually did that."
That's so
But
true.
you guys, there's so many of you out there listening that I'm sure have done the exact same thing. And it's like you want to avoid conflict. It's you look at things, you're nervous about it, and you're like, I don't really understand it. That's all written in Greek or whatever, and I'm gonna, I just don't want to dive into it. I don't have time today. And what I learned in my business and what people are learning in retail boot camp is that money matters. That money it's hard to come by, right? And we need to track everything that's coming into our store as much as everything going out. And we need to be the very best investors of not only our time that we talked about module 2, but also our money all the way around, right? Every app that we download, that's important. Every tool that we buy, that's important. Every piece of inventory we invest in is important. Every person is important. When we take off and we hire somebody to come in, that's important. The hours in the day that we operate our business, they all matter. That all matters to our bottom line. So looking at those numbers on those days that I used to be like, oh, awesome, that's a positive number. Great. Well, I need to learn from that. I need to dive deeper into that and be like, why is that positive? What have I done here for that number to be what it is? Or crap, why is that
Mhm.
number negative? What can I do better to make it a positive number? How can I increase that? Right? These numbers tell a story. And the whole point here is if you don't start analyzing those numbers now, pretty soon there won't be any numbers to analyze. Your business will fail, right? You'll lose money. You will run out of money. And at the end of the
Mhm.
day, our biggest goal for everybody that comes to retail boot camp, and I'm going to get an amen. I'm sure there's going to be somebody driving in their car right now is like, yes, we want you to pay yourself. We want you to take a paycheck home, and we want you to be proud of that paycheck. And that's the big thing. So many times boutique owners are like, I reinvest everything back into my business. Well, I think that's code to say, I don't have enough money to pay my bills and I need inventory to sell.
Mhm.
So we want to make sure that you're the best employee you have. You are the most
Mm-hmm.
accountable. You're the most efficient. You're the most, the business needs you. We can't get along without you. So why in the world are we not paying you? So we want to make sure you have a plan, you have a process in place that happens, right? And that you're paying your taxes, you're paying your bills, and you have cash flowing through your business. And we do that through a number of different things, understanding your markdowns, learning from your markdowns, understanding what you're bringing in, when you're bringing it in as far as inventory, and when you're selling it, how long it's taking you to sell it. We dive down into all sorts of things as far as expenses and analyzing where there might be a leak in your bucket, where you're just bleeding out in your business and we need to fix those things. But for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about module 3, it's understanding how to generate those numbers and how to read those numbers, right? We talk a lot about math formulas and a lot of that kind of stuff, but we give you some real good, solid advice on tools that you need to implement today to win back your life, to win back those 10 to 15 hours a week where you are trying to run your own numbers and do your own math and all that kind of stuff. So you have a true, accurate report to look at, how to read it, and how to make good financial decisions going forward. Module 3 is all about reducing the guessing game in retail. So when you go to market and your feet hit the ground at Vegas or LA or wherever you're at, you know what kind of money you're dealing with, as far as if you want to go out for dinner, if you want to take in a show, if you want to invest from this vendor, if you want to stay at this hotel or that hotel, or you're going to take the red eye home, or you get to, upgrade to first class. All those kind of things make a huge difference. And I see a lot of boutique owners just kind of winging it when it comes to the numbers.
Mm-hmm. Man, amen. And it flows right into module number 4 and pain point number 4. And that's really like having gaps in understanding how to manage inventory. And sometimes I fear that there are some boutiques that really, reports, they think of money as just one big ball or one big section of the business. Like, oh, I mean, I kind of know here and there a little bit, but we really have to understand the difference between managing cash flow and that whole reporting side of the business, your income, your expenses, your sales reports, all of that, but then managing inventory and having an accurate buying strategy and understanding, are you overbought? Are you underbought? What's your turn rate? What vendors are really doing you justice, and how you can continue to build and grow and move forward. So talk to me about module number 4 and becoming a retail scientist, really with your inventory and your
Yeah,
buying.
so much of your success is going to stem right back here to your inventory, because that's the one thing we seem, that's what we're selling. That's where our opportunity to make money comes from. Our opportunity to make money doesn't come from, all these other little tools and things. It comes from our inventory. So we want to become the best investors of our money into inventory as possible, so we have a high return on investment. And one thing that I feel like is really happening this year is there's a huge concentration on quality of purchases, right? People like sustainable fashion. People are liking some working with brands and companies that are, giving back to society, that have, some sort of a cultural experience with them as well. I think that there's a big turn or shift in what that customer is looking for, right? So that's a difference. That's a difference 5 years ago from today. So therefore, when people are buying, I like to say investing, but when boutique owners are going out and they're going to market to invest or buy in inventory, they have to look at that cultural shift, right? But they have to know who their customer is, what they really want, right? And so then they have to look at that brand or that vendor and see what their offering is. And I see a lot of times people first thing when they walk into a booth and they say, well, how much does that cost? And I will, module 4 is all about, understanding that you want a good return on investment, right? So it's not about what it costs. It's about, what am I going to sell that for? How much am I going to make on this? Do I have a strong ROI here? Am I tying up my dollars in inventory that's going to give me the best return on investment? Am I bringing it in at the right time? All these kind of things. Working with vendors on terms, understanding an open to buy plan. We talk a lot about open to buy plans here in module 4. And what is that? To be very brief and honest with you, I guess I should say blunt, it is what it is. It's a plan. It's a non-emotionally attached set of numbers that will tell you what to buy, when to have it delivered, how much of it to buy, and at what price. So it takes a lot of that guessing out of it. It is a true, like you're not going to go build a house without house plans, right? You're not going to, so I agree, you should not go build inventory without an open to buy, an inventory management plan. And that's what it is. So a lot of times, and we're going to have sale racks. I don't care if you're a grocery store, I don't care if you're the five and dime or the gas station or your Nordstrom's, there's sale racks there. That's inevitable. But you have to learn from those mistakes. Those are why you have markdowns, you have sale racks, because they were buying mistakes. Nobody wanted it. So you have to reduce it eventually, right? So it teaches you how to learn from those kind of things, help understand a pricing strategy where you're not getting into just a low price war with the person down the street. Because at the end of the day, retail is about making money, and it's okay. You can't pay your bills, and you're not going to pay yourself if you're not having a strong markup pricing strategy to make money at the end of the day, to absorb some of these discounts and things like that, and absorb your expenses. So I could go on and on and on, because I really am passionate about this, and where I find a lot of boutiques have that big hole or that leak in the bucket, and they're just not cash flowing and they're not able to pay their bills. It's because they have not concentrated on module 3 and 4. They've actually not been educated on that. And so I'm a firm believer in module 3 and 4 as solid principles in building a boutique.
Absolutely agree. And as we start to get into module 5, this is where, kind of depending on the size of your business, this is where this information is going to touch you differently. Module 5, as we get into it, is all about building your team, right? And for those of you who are listening and you're like, well, I don't have a team right now, I'm a solo entrepreneur. That's great. But if you're going to continue to be in this business and grow, eventually you will have a team. And so it's so important now to know how to set them up for success and how to structure your business in a way where you have an awesome and amazing supportive team around you that, much like you say, Sara, is like your basketball team and you're their coach. We have to understand how to do that right now so we can set them up for success later on. So module 5, do you want to dive a little bit into kind of your analogies on coaching your team?
Well, just a little bit. Yeah. Module 5, I would definitely say it's all about building that team. And right, you might not have a sales staff or, marketing team, so to speak, right now, but gosh, we sure hope you will. We sure hope your business is flourishing enough where you're going to need more help, right? And you can be more productive with more hands on deck. So making sure you have the right people in the right seats to fill those positions. So we talk about hiring and interviewing and running team meetings, or huddles, as I like to call them. But one of the things that Ashley was saying is my analogy with coaching is, I'm a big basketball fan, and I've watched my kids go from that 3rd and 4th grade basketball team up to, that higher level high school basketball team. And I've seen where their teams have grown and they're capable of doing other things now that they're, in high school versus where they were in 4th grade. But I also remember that the strict instruction that new basketball team needed compared to that more advanced basketball team, right? They needed to know their roles. They needed to know specific things, some obvious things that as a coach you think, why am I telling these kids this they should know? They don't know. They don't know the difference between offense and defense. They didn't even know, for the most part, which basket they were going to. I mean, how many times have you watched a 4th grader go and do a layup on a fast break to the wrong basket? It happens, right? I mean, it's painful. Everybody in the gym's like, no, don't do it. And anyway, the kid goes and shoots the basket. It's the only one the poor kid makes the whole day. They go crazy and everybody's like, oh no. Well, that happens with our boutique teams as well. They think they're winning and doing some amazing thing, and next thing you know, they've messed up a sale, or they haven't served the customer properly, right? Or they've missed out on a selling opportunity because they didn't merchandise the store properly. All these kind of things, it comes from training. It comes from that coach giving them the right information where they can really collectively serve your customer, make the sales, enter data, all these kind of things that make the wheel go round. And as hard as it is, a lot of times we're quick to blame society or quick to blame this generation of employees, but really it comes back to us as the coach of the team, that when the team doesn't work right, it's the coach's fault. It is 100% the coach's fault, and that's us as the boutique owner, right? So we talk a lot about that in module 5. And to take it a step further, for some of you that feel like you don't have a team, you're like, oh, that wouldn't necessarily relate to me, I would beg to differ. You might not actually have employees, but you do have a team. You have an accountant, you have a banker, you have a spouse or a significant other or a family. You have all these people that surround you in this business that play a role. You might not think they might not get necessarily a paycheck, but they are a team for your boutique. And they have a role within your boutique, right? Whether it's just to support you or to give you financial advice or to manage your books or to process your taxes. They have got to understand who you are, what the story of your boutique is, what your goal is, and help you align with that so you can succeed. So I think module
Mhm.
5 falls heavy on everybody, no matter where you're at in your business. Because let's be honest, there is not one sole person doing all of it 100% themselves. Maybe it's maybe they're renting a space, from somebody, their landlord is part of their team, because that guy's got to play along with you. That guy's got to offer an opportunity for you to advance. So there's skills within module 5 that run very, very deep across the team board.
Absolutely, including employee
Absolutely.
handbooks, team meetings, team motivation, hiring, firing, interview questions, how to scale your team, how to keep your team accountable, all
All
kinds of
kinds of
things.
things.
Let's talk about module. Oh, I'm sorry. What was
Oh
that,
no,
Sarah?
yep, that's what I was saying. All kinds of things.
All kinds of things. Module 6, I want to talk about Module 6 a little bit. This is where I would say Module 6 is a little more leaning toward brick and mortar store owners in the sense that we talk about merchandising. And for the life of me, I can't find another place on the internet that has a great like retail merchandising course or like training program. So I'm super proud of what's in here because I remember one piece of feedback we got from the last round of boot camp. One girl came back and she said, you know what, after module 6, I went into my store, I completely rearranged it based on we do like floor maps and like layout guides and traffic plans in this module. And she's like, just that one change alone more than quadrupled my return on investment from being in boot camp, which is crazy, right? In one weekend, she went back and just killed it because of this new layout and implemented some of these tools that she may have been missing. Just like one, for example, I know we talk about is, when for the most part, when people come into your store, depending on your store's layout, there's a pretty common traffic pattern people follow. And a lot of times it's to the right,
Hmm. That's
right? So why wouldn't we be putting our newest, highest priced, best, freshest merchandise right there so we can turn that stuff quickly? Because that's where people are going to gravitate to
right.
first. Sometimes those little, like no brainer, simple things make all the difference in the world. And I'm going to let you expand on merchandising a bit, but I want you to listen. If you're an e commerce store owner, if you're an online store owner, merchandising is equally as important to you, even though it might feel like a brick and mortar thing, because every day we have to merchandise our photo shoots. Every day we merchandise our social media posts. Every day we merchandise our website. And a lot of the same principles apply. You just have to think about it in a slightly different light. And if you go to vendor events and you set up pop ups, whatever, merchandising also still applies to you. So even though it might sound brick and mortar, just know that it's more universal. And some of the strategy that's laced inside of this does go beyond brick and mortar.
Yeah, absolutely. I would quadruple that a lot of what we talk about does resonate back with the e-commerce site. And we teach a lot of skills here. We teach a lot of psychology behind the buyer, what that person that's coming into your store or comes onto your website, what they're expecting, how they relate, where their eye moves, all that kind of stuff. The successful merchandising doesn't just happen. There's an art behind it. And this is where I think the course and running a business gets really fun, right? Because I can tell you there was days when I was running the numbers, I was generating these reports, I was doing all these kind of things in my office, and I just needed to clear my head. And so I would get out of my office, I'd go onto my selling floor and re-merchandise, right? I would do my store window. I would do some photography for our website, something creative, because I felt like this was my outlet. And it's awesome to watch. It was kind of like a game, right? So you would do this, and then you'd watch customers come in and how they interact and how they move and where they pause, what they pick up and what they don't. And so then you could make decisions on that, and you could re-merchandise again, or pull things from this area that maybe was not having high visibility and put that in a better spot and immediately watch it sell. And it was almost like a game, like you're playing with these people's emotions, but you were playing to win, right? Because at the end of the day, we're here to make money. So we go through a ton of strategy about that, and answer people's questions here about, what do I do with my leftover merchandise? Okay, well, let's go back. We talked about the inventory that you're buying and learning from these mistakes and discounts, but let's be a little bit further. When was the last time you moved it? Has it lived on the floor in the corner this whole time? When was the last time you brought it from page number 4 on your website, rephotoed it in a different way, put it with a different item to show how it transitions season to season, and put it back on page number 1 of your website? Have you tried that? We do lots of different tips and things here, but so much of it is just getting excited about your merchandise and really showcasing it. I challenge people in this module to look at merchandising every store they go into. Again, I'll say the grocery store, the gas stations, the high-end department stores. It doesn't matter. There's a science behind it all. And there's a thing called planogram. And it's a big business for major department stores. And like if you walk into a Target or you walk into Kohl's, they have the same displays everywhere, right? For the most part. I mean, depending on if you're in California versus Maine, they might be a bit different. But there's somebody telling them to do that. The cool thing about boutique owners is y'all have that ability on your own. You can be super creative and come up with your own displays, right? You don't have somebody telling you exactly how you have to do it, and that this green pair of pants goes with this shirt and this on this mannequin in this particular part of your store. No, you get to be creative and expand your mind and do all these things on your own. And I love that art side of it. And that's why I think it gets so fun. But again, it's all done with the result of making a sale. So I think this deep dive science part for the art part is super cool within merchandising, and how we can increase that average order value, increase the sales, put more money in our cash register. We can pay more bills. We can invest in more inventory. Yeah. So wagons and wheels circles around again, and it all plays together.
And you've got to get your fill of like the art side and the creative side of the business in this module, because the next pain point that we hear from store owners that we cover in module 7 is not art and it's not pretty. It's actually really boring. But this can be a significant leaky bucket, and that is just your general operations. Things like handbooks, store policies, guidelines, operations, schedules, planning, maximizing events, team guidelines, security, making sure you've got some theft prevention, a lot of the like boring, mundane part of your business that we have to review. That's in module 7. So don't get bored and sleep through this one, please.
No, because these are the things that if you skip these, they really are going to come back and bite you later on. When you need to have standards set, you need to have non-negotiable standards set within your business. And some of those things you kind of forget about. And so this module is a great refresher. It's like that eye opener of like, oh my gosh, yes, I totally need to get that taken care of to protect myself. Because at this point, we're hoping you've built a pretty good business, right? Like you are on the verge for success. So making sure you've not missed some of these key things along the way, are very, very important. Protecting yourself and making sure everybody's on the same page. Everybody understands the playbook, the policies, the procedures, how to handle problems, all these kind of things. It is the nitty gritty of your business. So
it's the thing that as you grow, I think you just want to bury your head in the sand. I'll never forget like the first time we started putting employees on payroll, because everyone started as contractors first with us at the hub. And I was talking to my father-in-law on the phone one day, who's our insurance agent. And I was like, what is this crap load of mail that has started to arrive in my box? Like, what is going on? And he's like, yeah, that's what most people don't know about having a business is all of a sudden you have to have a full-time person just to handle this stuff that you don't think about on a regular basis. All the workman's comp and like all this stuff that just makes me want to bang my head against a wall. Thank God there's people who love it.
There's some people who just get super excited about managing that. And you know what? Perfect. Go find those people and let them do that so you can get back to doing the amazing creative stuff that you do. But nonetheless, you cannot avoid that.
Exactly. Amen to that. All right. So if you can, please don't sleep through module 7. We will get into the fun part, and that is module 8, where we talk about selling. We talk about the most important thing that we do on a regular basis, and that is sell stuff. So from the psychology behind selling to hosting events to understanding what promotions are working and knowing the difference between promotions and sales. We also have a brand new promotional calendar that we're going to be sharing with our bootcamp students this year. Rewards programs we talk about, again, going back to that psychology, and then also traffic plans and how to break down. We've talked a little bit about this in the hub in general, the boutique traffic plan, but knowing if I'm going to sell $1 million this year, how do I need to work those numbers backwards in order to get there? So we talk about traffic patterns, going back to merchandising in your store or merchandising your website. How many conversions are we getting? What's our average order value? And then based on our marketing efforts, which we're going to cover in module 10, how much traffic do we need to drive, footer online every single day to hit those conversion rates and average order values and make the sales? It's like where the number side of your brain and the creative side of your brain meet and have like a party in module number 8.
Oh man, yeah, we talk a lot about upselling, and we talk about retention. And yeah, you said we cover the rewards programs and loyalty programs, things like that, all those touch points within sales and the whole art of serving with our customer. And yeah, you have got to be able to put this all in perspective and do it efficiently and effectively to pay your bills, right? It's fun. I love it. This is a very energetic, I think, module because you can see a direct result very fast by the things that we implement here. So I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm. I love it. All right, module number 9. Hello, online boutiques. We will be talking to you directly. And if you're not an online boutique, I know that in the next couple of years, can I just take a stance and say this? I think it's going to be really important that you are an online boutique. And I know there's a lot of multiple generation brick and mortar stores that are kind of dabbling into what is it like to have an online presence. And I'm not saying that everyone has to have like an e-commerce powerhouse side of their business, but I think to be online and to know how to be found and to fulfill orders so you can continue to grow your business outside of your 4 walls is critical. And so in this module, we talk about all things e-commerce, from the ideal site layout. We do talk about Shopify, but this is all relevant to no matter what provider you're working with, BigCommerce, whatever it is. But ideal site layout, traffic, understanding Google Analytics and how to read the data and the reporting that's coming from your site. We're going to go deep into SEO this round of bootcamp, which I'm super excited about. We've got a brand new SEO strategist on our team at the Boutique Hub who is awesome to work with. We'll be talking about how to do that in your business as well. And then lots of e-commerce hacks that no one tells you. Conversion, we had a conversion rate optimization specialist join us a session ago or 2 sessions ago that has a great video in Bootcamp. And we've got guest experts coming in all the time adding to that. Plus, for those of you that are on Comment Sold, we do talk about that a lot in this module as well. We've had Brandon in, we've had Leslie in. I think we've got possibly Brandon coming back again. I'm not even sure the schedule, but we'll talk more about SEO and using that as an e-commerce provider as well.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I just want to touch on here, because this is Ashley's wheelhouse 100%. But as a shopper, I'll put myself back in the shopper role. And I'm jumping around on boutiques or websites or whatever. I'm on their Facebook page. And all of a sudden, I get something else that targets me back, or a pop-up here that has something relevant to something I might have been looking at, or a way for me to stay in touch. And I think, gosh, that's really cool. Or sometimes I'm like, wow, that's really weird. How did that happen? Or sometimes it does. I don't even stop and think about it. I just like, oh, that's, I enter my information there or whatever it is. But the thing is, I want to say is that doesn't just happen. Module 9 is going to really dive you into how you can make that happen on your sites, how you can find other ways to target and re-engage with customers through your e-commerce platforms and get more conversions into your sales. I just think so often, the majority of the population, remember, your customers are not techie. They're not the boutique people or they're not the tech people. They're just boutique shoppers. They just like to shop for clothes. How all that stuff works on the back end, they don't even get it. But it needs to be relevant with it on your site, right? Because it is on your competition, I guess I'd say. Mm-hmm. So helping you understand how to implement those things all happens there in module 9, which I just think is a win-win, because you're kind of setting yourself up to be passed over if you're not up to speed on all those kind of things.
Amen to that. Module number 10. Module number 10 is a monster. So let's just talk about the monster of social media, for a second. I know there's a number of you listening right now that are feeling like, I spin my wheels with social media. I'm constantly posting. I'm constantly engaging. Oh yeah, Pinterest, I definitely should be on there, but I'm probably not optimizing it the way that I could. Oh, and there's this brand new thing called TikTok. Lord knows when I'm going to maximize that, right? it's always another thing, and it's always another strategy, and it's always another post. And so we try to demystify that a lot in module 10. And we talk about each individual channel individually in this module. So we have a Pinterest strategy. We talk about Tailwind. If you're not already using Tailwind to schedule your pins, I highly recommend that you get started there. We talk about Instagram, Facebook groups, live videos, doing giveaways and how to do them right, the ideal content recipe, customer segmentation. And then I do want to talk a second about planning. If you have heard anything about our Content Sanity Masterclass or Content Sanity strategy that we created at the Boutique Hub, this is something I began to work on about a year and a half ago after hearing so many of the questions and being able to know that right now Sarah's wheels are spinning in her head and she's wanting to vomit as she thinks about all of this social media. I can hear you laughing.
For all of you that are out there in the podcast land and you're like, what in the Sam hell is she talking about? This is all so over my head. You know what? I'm right there with you. But Ashley makes it very, I'm going to just say dumbs it down. I like that. I hope that doesn't sound bad, but you do a good job, Ashley, of dumbing that down in module 10 and making this actually possible for the common boutique owner to adapt to and implement. So between, yes, what you're talking in these strategies, I love it. Because gosh, let's be honest, there's a lot of us that have just like had this instant glaze over the last 2 minutes that Ashley's been talking about. But she'll put it in, don't stress. I hope you're not sweating. She'll put it in dumb terms, layman terms, whatever. And it will be manageable. I want to say manageable. Yeah. You can work this system.
Get a new stick of deodorant and you are going to be fine. It's manageable.
All right,
proceed. Okay, so let's just go here. Here's how it's manageable. The Content Sanity strategy is where we talk about the 6 essential pieces of content that a boutique owner needs every week on social media. And that is live videos or recorded videos, try-on sessions, product photos, new and aged, quotes, personal stories, and what is the thing that I'm forgetting off the top of my head? I'm forgetting the 6th piece. Oh, collections, a featured collection. I couldn't count there for a minute. So we talk about how do you take those pieces and with what's working on social media right now, how do you implement them into your business? I will give you this warning though, however, if you're coming into bootcamp and you're like, oh my gosh, these strategies change all the time. I know they do. And so some of the things we really have dumbed it down in this module. We've gone deep, but dumbed it down to make it simple. Because then what Sara and I do, we go live every week during bootcamp. We do group coaching. So if there's something that we feel like is the absolute latest and greatest, here's what we know is working right now, or here's what we've been testing, then we coach on that live every week, even though it may not say that in the module. The module may be basic. Our lives may go more into depth because there's no way with the amount of information that's in here that we could re-record it that often because there is so much stuff. So come in, find the one nugget that works for you, but don't feel like you have to do everything.
Yeah. And keep in mind, you have lifetime access to this course, right? Mm-hmm. So if you take Retail Bootcamp and you get hung up here on module 10, 11, or even 12, that's okay because you can continue to implement these processes throughout your journey in your boutique business. It does not all have to happen in whatever week 11 or week 10 of Retail Bootcamp. Not Absolutely. At all. You have lifetime access to this. So you can circle back around whenever you need to circle back around.
Absolutely. And every time there's a change, and we do because we have been updating some of these modules as we go, you get lifetime access to all of the changes. So that's a pretty cool thing. That's college that you don't have to pay for every semester, which is wonderful.
Oh my gosh. Amen.
All right. Module number 11, as we kind of get closer to the end here. Again, module 11 is, I would call more of the traditional marketing and sales strategy. You know, so many times we think about growing our business and marketing in terms of social media, but we forget that there's a million other ways that we can also be growing, from traditional marketing like postcards and phone calls and that personal touch that really can't be replaced with social media today. To things like email marketing and setting up the right automations, the right segmentation of your list, right? The things that are going to help make you money while you sleep. We've got a lot on text marketing, and actually that module is going to be expanding this year because there's some new developments in that market space. We talk about using influencers and reps, and we've got sample contracts for you. We talk about PR strategy and how to work with your local news organizations, be it a newspaper, a magazine, any kind of media outlet, TV station, because that's awesome SEO. It's awesome traffic. That's a great way to build your brand reputation, right? So all the traditional pieces of marketing are covered in module 11. And then into module 12, this is again where most people say, hey, let's start with Facebook ads. And then we're like, no, we've got a lot of work to do before we want to burn your money and light it on fire with Facebook, because that's what
No,
can happen.
absolutely.
So many people come in and they're like, I tried Facebook ads and they didn't work. And really it is like, just take some money out of your pocket and light it on fire. You'd be better off to do that if you haven't like gone through these other processes in your business first. So we really do break it down here. And this entire module, because Facebook's ads manager was all updated, like 100% overhauled in the last year. This will be completely brand new this year. So everything from the Facebook, like a sales funnel. So how do we look at cold audiences, warm audiences, and retargeting audiences, all the different types of audiences that we can create within there, how to then set up ads and the different types of ads that matter in different stages of the funnel, and then how to track all those ads and to really understand what numbers are working and what's the ROI that I should be getting from Facebook ads. And I do encourage you, I think, Sara, you've coined this phrase for sure, do what you do best and hire the rest. And sometimes that is Facebook ads. It's hiring someone. But I highly, highly caution you, do not hire someone to do your Facebook ads if you don't understand it at least a little bit yourself, because it's so easy to get taken advantage of with Facebook, with SEO, with digital marketing agencies that come in and they want your money and they're going to charge you $5,000 a month, but they're proven. They know exactly what they're doing, right? They're going to do all your social media and your emails and your ads. And please feel the sarcasm in my voice right now. Some of them are great. And as long as you know how to guide them and have an educated conversation with them, you're going to find success. But some of them, if you don't know and you're just like, hey, run with it, you should light your money on fire now too. So I just really believe in the Bible verse, the Bible story about teaching a man to fish and feeding him for a lifetime versus giving him a fish and feeding him for a day. This is your opportunity to educate yourself, even if you outsource this part of your business so that you aren't taken advantage of and you really get the ROI that you're looking for. Would you agree with that, Sara?
Oh, preach it. Yes, 100%. I think, the one thing on all of this, module 10, 11, and 12, that I want to make sure everybody understands is not only is Ashley going to be teaching you how to do these kind of things in a process that works, she's also going to be teaching you how to analyze and go back in and look at these. Just like I was talking about the reports earlier in this course, you're going to be able to go back in and look at your numbers and track, what is it doing? What is that investment of dollars doing for your ROI? Where are you making money here? And so much of this, I see a lot of boutique owners, they'll run a Facebook ad, they will run and publish it, and they'll boost it, they'll do the deal. And then all of a sudden they're like, months later, oh man, I wonder if I ever generated any sales from that, and it kind of blows my mind how much you click that button and forget about it and not track anything. And everything we do in business needs to be done with a purpose. And that's like you taking this course in general, Retail Bootcamp. You need to take this with the purpose of implementing what you're learning here and taking it in bite-sized pieces wherever you are in your business, but certainly implementing the strategies and testing them and analyzing them. And that's the big thing I love about that bonus module, that 12, is those Facebook ads, because they're so easy to just think, oh, I'm going to boost it. I'm going to run this ad, and then not even know what to do with it. So I love it. I think that those last three modules specifically, especially I want to say that these are big modules for everybody, but I find one place where a lot of I want to say veteran boutique owners fall short is here, because they know it's necessary. They know they need to get on this bandwagon. They're just not sure how to do it. And something else I want to add here is, don't be afraid to bring your manager or bring your other go-to person from your boutique in here to learn this and to help you manage these kind of things. Because throughout the courses, I will talk about open book management. And like Ashley said, do what you do best and hire the rest. I'm not naive to think that you as the one person can do all of this and do it all well and do it all 100% and still manage to sleep at night, cook supper, be with your family, whatever it is, or take in a movie and hell, actually take a shower. I mean, this is a lot. And so we know that it's going to take a support staff, or it's going to take some team, right? Eventually, the bigger you get, the bigger your problems. So you're going to have to bring in some other people. And I'm a big believer in the open book management strategy, where you bring these other people in and let them know what your goals are and how you want to get there, and have them help you along the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at I'll go back. You were talking about the veteran boutique owner, and watched NFL football. There's not an NFL football team that goes onto the field with one coach on the sidelines. There's not. There's so many coaches over there. There's so many people helping them along the way, and seeing the field from a different view and reading the plays and helping them along the way. And I guess I just keep saying, that's where I think Retail Bootcamp comes in. You and I are eyes to the industry on a whole different level. You're in here with a community of other boutique owners that are taking Retail Bootcamp together, all collectively, right, in our closed group. So they're eyes and ears, and helping you understand where they're at in their business, where you can learn from them as well. And then also on the other side of that, that helps you get that team put together that can help you implement all of these strategies and not be overwhelmed by, any of this stuff, the Facebook ads or other marketing strategies, things like that. Yeah, I don't know. I get so excited thinking about Retail Bootcamp and the opportunity that it creates for retailers in general. And then you listen to the testimonials that we have, and yeah, I'm super pumped. And if I had my boutique over again, no matter what, I would want to be in a community like this to give me the backbone support that Retail Bootcamp does.
I love it. Well, man,
Yeah.
we've dug deep into all the areas that we talk about in boot camp. Hopefully that was helpful, and hopefully there was nuggets of wisdom in there for you guys today. Whether you're going to be a part of boot camp or not, just to take those things home with you and work on them. A couple other things I just want to really mention quick so we don't forget about them, Sarah. But besides the modules we talked about, we've got, oh my gosh, we've got to have over 20 guest experts inside of boot camp now. We're pretty big
I think
believers on if we don't know the answer, we're certainly not going to BS you on that. And we're not going to pretend like we've got it all figured out. We're going to find someone smarter than us to come in and give that answer. So that's why we rely so heavily on our friends and contacts in the industry to come in and help coach with us in boot camp. Just like you said, multiple coaches on the sidelines in every NFL game. But we also have lots of done for you templates and checklists too. So whether it's your handbooks or hiring and firing and all those processes, questions and guidelines, savvy retailer do's and don'ts checklists, retail acronyms and retail math cheat sheets, promotions calendars. Gosh, what do we've got customer survey things. We've got donation forms when people come in looking for donations. And then plus we've got guided workbooks and modules or inside of every single module. So every time you're listening and taking notes, you can take it into the workbook as well, and then print that out, put it in a binder, and you've got it forever.
Absolutely. It is a university course. It is not a 100 level course. There's so much in here. And yeah, I think it is a definite tool for growth for any retailer.
Absolutely. So if you guys are listening, the good news is on the day that you're listening, I hope it's recent, and Retail Bootcamp is open right now. It's open only 2 times a year during January and during June, right after the Boutique Summit. So you can kind of plan on that. It closes this year, I believe, January 24th. So if you're past the deadline, I know we do have a wait list up for you. If it is past the deadline, you can sign up to be notified when we open again in June. But certainly DM me on Instagram at AJ Alderson or email Sara at theboutiquehub.com. We can answer some of your questions. We also have some other options for trainings coming out this year, both for wholesalers, for retailers, for new boutiques, and for definitely more advanced boutiques. So we're really trying to diversify and make sure the nuggets of wisdom that you guys need most to grow your business, that we're providing those to you this year, along with all the training that you get every single day, updated every single week and every single month inside of your membership at the Boutique Hub. So guys, thank you so much for listening today. I know we've got a couple of stories we wanted to share, some past Retail Bootcamp graduates that are going to share their thoughts with you at the end of the show. But Sara, thanks so much for joining me. And we didn't get as out of hand as I thought we would. Usually there's lots of jokes and laughter, but we were pretty straight-laced today.
We were. I mean, Yeah, we were. This is serious stuff. We have a lot of fun within Retail Boot Camp, but man, we just are really here to help grow people's business and themselves personally as well as in their business. And yeah, so maybe that's why we were a little bit more serious, because this is serious stuff.
Serious stuff. We're going to make you some money. That is serious stuff, right? That's the plan.
Look where you guys are paying yourselves, right?
A to
Boom.
the men. A to the men.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah, thanks so much. I will see you very shortly on our next trip together at the Hub. Can't wait to talk about all these things again. But you guys, don't be a stranger. Let us know if you've got any questions. And I know, speaking for Sarah too, I cannot wait to see you guys inside of boot camp and to kick off another round and another graduating class. You guys are going to be awesome.
See you later, guys. Thank you.
Hi, you guys. My name is Kiana. I'm the owner of the Beautiful Boutiques in Montgomery, Alabama. I am also a member of the Boutique Hub and a retail boot camper. I say camper because I invested in this course last year, and I am going to retake the course this year because once you make this investment, the information is yours for a lifetime. I just have to tell you, you're probably in my shoes. I was looking at the course, thinking about the course. I felt like I needed the course, so I was watching the course and looking at the prices or the cost and saying, well, I can't afford that right now, or it's just me. I don't really have employees. I get a little help from my mother-in-law and my daughter, so I don't really have a team. Is this too much? Is my business too small? And I am so glad that I changed my mindset, had a shift, took the leap of faith. The class is not something that you need to afford, but it's something that you cannot afford to miss out on. I'm a creative, so that part is fun. That part is easy. But I've really been running the business, literally just running. I jumped in and I really thought, okay, I can buy stuff and sell stuff. I have learned so much more, especially on the management side of things from the Retail Boot Camp course. The modules are great. They're wonderfully outlined. And the fact that we get to go over everything in the live the next day or once a week is super, super, super duper exciting. You do not want to miss this course. Go ahead and sign up. I mean, I learned things about team building, inventory management, margins, everything that I needed to know as a business owner, as a successful business owner, but did not have a clue of because I never majored in business. I never studied this type of information, but it's necessary. It's necessary. I encourage you to stop hesitating, stop procrastinating, go ahead and sign up, be ready for the course, learn as much as you can. One of the most important things that I did learn though from the course, and I think Ashley said it is, it's great to learn a lot, but you need to implement what you're learning. So grab a little bit, make those small changes, and before you know it, your business will begin to reflect the large changes as a whole. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the course.
When we decided to join Retail Bootcamp, we had no idea the positive impact that it would make on our business. From learning about inventory management, to building a strong staff, to having an open-to-buy plan, these are all things that we've been able to incorporate on a more solid platform than what we were doing before. We finally feel that we have control over our business versus the business having control over us. We often fall into the trap of wanting to do what everybody else does, but we have learned to stay in our own lane, control what we control, hire out what we don't know how to do, and just do what we know how to do best, providing customer service and offering the best products possible. If you haven't taken the plunge to join Retail Bootcamp, you totally should. It's an investment in yourself and in your business.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope that you loved it. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a rating and review down below for a chance to be one of our featured listeners each and every week. For more information on our spirit of community over competition and how to access complete show notes and bonus downloads from our guests, head on over to theboutiquehub.com and join the community. We'll see you next week.